Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. Holy moly, it has been what a crazy last few weeks it's been for me. I think prior to this, I had made a podcast episode before I went to Montreal, which is basically I went and tattooed for 4 days out there, and also got to speak on stages on how to build a 6 to 7 figure brand. How to really lean into your message, mission, and movement. What I truly believe is like super duper helpful for artists, creatives, spiritual entrepreneurs to grow a business, because I believe that, I don't know what it is, but when you're on the spiritual journey, I just feel like we're so creative in so many different things. And why is it that we are told that we can only do one thing? So for me, it's like I truly love helping and guiding people to not only be inspired and see the potential that you can monetize anything. Like I truly believe it when you have a solid brand, mission, message, and movement. And so what a fucking wild ride that was. Montreal is fucking gorgeous. I absolutely loved it. I mean, honestly, we ate everything and got to hang out with some really beautiful people at this summit, at this all women's feminine entrepreneurship coaching summit, which is so cool because it kind of, after, being a tattoo artist for 13 years, having done so many tattoo conventions, it's like, here's the next leg up. And it's crazy because, literally earlier this month, I think I talked about having email hate campaigns against me and how there's a war on honest people. And I was just like, man, and, and I lost 1,500 followers from it. And from that standpoint, it was like, oh my gosh, I actually ended up, getting 10 people into BTS, which was incredible. And then also having someone sign up for my mastermind, scale mastermind. And then other people coming into my world asking about, how they can start to build programs, how they can start to build courses in order to, put their education, their wisdom into these courses. And it's just been like so rad that overall in the entire month, having, had hate campaigns, lost 1,500 followers, I was able to, have a $75,000 launch in the month of September. And so it was just like, whoa. It's funny because this is where this is kind of lead us into a few of the lessons that we are going to be heading into this podcast episode today about surrender, about your messaging, and really the audacity of using your voice. Because it's like the moment, let me just take you on the story again, for those that didn't listen to the last podcast episode, when I had come back from another summit. So last month, I spoke on 2 stages for over 400 people, talking about not only how to build iconic fucking brands, but also to share your voice, share your message. And of course, as some of my whole story is that, I used to take tattoos that were not mine and post them as my own. And I got caught. And this happened about 9 years ago. And when I got caught, I had to really come into this like whole spiritual journey and surrender to what was happening versus trying to force the outcome. And it's funny because I was having this conversation online, and then all of a sudden, of course, people are only going to see what they want to see, and they want to project what they want to project onto you. And so a whole, few threads of hate campaigns came out against me with regards to, oh my gosh, you should never be forgiven, all of these things. And and of course, those things activate my body. It activates my nervous system. It freaks me out. Of course, I'm traumatized from cancel culture. And I have really deep-seated trauma within my nervous system. It's planted there. It remembers that. So when these things happen, of course, my past experience is going to create activation in the body in the present moment. And it's one of those things where it's not wrong that it happens, that I have activation in my body, but it's the choice I get to choose on what I want to do with that activation. Do I want to utilize it as a way to play small, or is it my way of just like going into this journey of like, okay, how can I deepen into my surrender? You guys, oh my God. Okay, so yeah, sorry to stop this podcast episode. I just needed to let you guys know that Worthy, Wealthy, Creative, the retreat, we are going to motherfucking Mexico. This retreat has literally been my like inner child dream to be hanging out with the goddesses of the tattoo world, of the spiritual entrepreneur world. So if you are ready to collapse months of coaching into an epic week, we're talking a mansion, we're talking a private chef, branding, photo shoots, healing circles, basically everything you need to recharge and get in the millionaire mindset. I fucking double down dare you to dream bigger and join us in building your tattoo fucking empire. Let's go. It's in the show notes. Sign up. We only have a few slots left. How can I know that this is for me, through me? By God, the universe, right? So it's like when I think of this aspect of surrender, and if you guys are not in the arc yet, I highly recommend getting in the arc for October. We are going to go into the art of surrender, which is, the arc is my cancel anytime membership, really stepping into that wealth identity, that $1 million mindset, and learning how to have your own personal power tools so that you can come out and really show up and shine in the online space, so you can call in the clients, build the freedom-based business, create really beautiful art, not just by way of your tattoos or your programs or whatever it is, but just be an artist. You're always an artist when you're speaking your voice, when you're creating content, when you're sharing your message. Like, this is art that we get to continuously just create this body of work that continues to collapse time around people getting to know us. And it's funny because I surrendered to that, and I leaned in. I was like, God, what do you want from me? Like, how is this going to show me which direction I want to go? And when I think of like the spirit and universe just like moving through me and knowing what's happening, is that like, I asked for this. Yeah, I didn't say, hey, can you have hate campaigns come out against me? Because, I know that'll be good for my growth. No, I asked for freedom. I asked for impact. I asked for influence. I asked for, legacy. I asked for an empire. I talk a lot about building 7-figure tattoo empires, and like for me, like that's a vibe. But to hold that capacity, that type of income, that means having to hold the energy of people to come into my spaces, and for me to really believe in what I'm talking about, because embodied people attract embodied people, right? And so it's like, I understand that for me to call in embodied human beings, I'm going to need to be the embodiment of my brand, of my mission, of what I'm saying, of my brand identity, of everything that I am about. And so when I talk about spirituality and these things happen, it's not only just a testament to the fact that like, oh my God, my practice is so deep, and I trust in the universe. I trust in what's happening right now. And I trust that it's going to lead me exactly where I'm meant to go and to help impact people in such a huge way. And so this is me and my leadership going through something that people see me doing. Like, that's what leadership is all about. It's the willingness to expand and to evolve in front of people. And are you willing to do that? And this level of surrender to utilizing your voice, to having the audacity to utilize your voice is next level. This is like advanced shit. Oftentimes we have the idea of like, okay, this is what I want to say. This is who I am. This is how I want to, how I want to say the thing. And then yet we don't actually say the thing. We tend to explain ourselves often. And today, like for us today, I really want to take you on a journey into the heart of what it means to truly surrender and find your message and have absolute audacity to use your fucking voice. Because let's be honest, building the kind of business we dream about doesn't come from playing small. It just doesn't. It doesn't come from trying to do things the way everyone else is doing them. It comes from stepping into who you actually are and letting that version of you lead. And I remember like during this time, like I've even felt it in my body that I'm like, I'm really ready to surrender even more. I'm currently off social media. I'm just giving myself some space. I've been feeling like the universe is asking me to deepen into my practice, to really, really go deep, to trust that everything is working. And in the times that I do open my social media, I notice how many new people are following me, hundreds of new people. My content is working. It's creating omnipresence. I mean, just this morning, I saw that Nico Hurtado started following me. I was like, damn. I was like, what's up, guy? I met him several times. but it's like during his seminars and stuff, and this is years ago, and so like just to have just a powerhouse and someone I truly look up to in the industry start following me in this way, and just it's like I know my voice is working, and I know what I'm creating is creating omnipresence, which is really what we want, because at the end of the day, when we get really really like understanding, and the understanding that content is art, your message is your art, your movement is your art, your brand is your art, it's all of a sudden all of this art that you're creating in the online space and the offline space is just continuing to grow, and people just start loving your art. Not just my tattoos, just the things that I'm saying, the education that I'm providing, the tattoos that I'm giving. It's like it all gets to mix and match with that when you have a strong brand. And so I've been called to go deeper, and not the surface level deeper, not just this like surface level idea of letting go. I'm talking about the kind of surrender that feels like jumping off a cliff without knowing that a net will appear, right? It was during times when like nothing is happening, or when big activators happen, when you start to feel like, oh my gosh, like this could hurt my business. Me telling my story could hurt my business. Like that was my green light to go. I felt like, and in those moments prior to me even telling my story, I'll even go back a little further. I felt like I was doing all the right things, but there was this constant struggle, this constant push, and I wasn't calling in the clients that I wanted. Although my clients have always evolved with me. Like I could say back in like 5-7 years ago that I would have been like, those are my soulmate clients. But as I've evolved, my clients have evolved, which is so fucking beautiful. And so it's like I've always had soulmate clients, but man, my clients now are fucking soulmates. So when I say I wasn't calling the clients I wanted, I didn't know I wasn't calling in the clients that I knew I could call in. So in fact, it's like even at that time too, we're talking about like, gosh, 8 years ago, I wasn't calling in anyone. I had quit tattooing at that time because, I had been canceled by the industry. And, as I started to come back on my very slow comeback back into the world of social media, not really showing my face, but showing up in my artistry because I still wanted it to be a tattoo artist, I realized it hit me one day as I sat really frustrated trying to figure out what wasn't sticking. And I realized that I was trying so much to control how people perceived me. I was putting this grip on the how, white knuckling everything, and just being like, and it was exactly what I was doing prior to getting canceled by the industry. I wanted to control the way people saw me. I wanted to micromanage the way people saw me. And I wanted them to see a certain version of me because I didn't like any of the versions of myself to show up authentically. And so when the gift of rock bottom happened, when I got canceled by the industry, it forced me to lean into surrender. It forced me to trust the bigger picture. It forced me. And so when that happened, and then of course I have dark nights of the soul along the way, you guys. Like I didn't just have one spiritual awakening and here I am. I've built a 7-figure business. Like we're talking about 9 years later. And although that's really not that long in the grand scheme of things, when you look back, you're like, wow, that actually wasn't that long. In that time, I had to go through another gift of rock bottom, another gift of rock bottom. Maybe not as far down as I had when I was canceled, when that really rocked me, but other certain ones, decisions I had made that I wasn't really proud of, and I was just like, gosh, like it just felt like I had to continue to repeat almost similar lessons in order for me to truly understand how to lean into surrender. And when I realized that I was white knuckling the how on everything, I realized what was happening was that micromanaging of people, the way people saw me, was exactly the reason why I felt exhausted, overwhelmed, overworked. Was because whenever we have those stress feelings, it's because we are neglecting and rejecting a feeling in our body that we're not feeling now. And it's because at that moment I was like, you know what, I'm going to lean into surrender. I'm going to surrender to this. I'm going to see this as an invitation for the universe to guide me. And I think about it, surrender wasn't giving up. It's about letting go of what you think needs to happen so you can create space for what's truly aligned for you. It's about releasing the pressure to be perfect and just allowing things to unfold as they are meant to. That's where magic happens. That's where miracles are coming from. When I softened into that trust, my message started to flow in a whole new way. And it was like, oh fuck. Can I love myself so deeply as a human, as a flawed, imperfect human, and own that shit? And what's funny is that once I started to really lean into, okay, how much deeper can I go? What's the surrender that I can have for myself? Well, how can I surrender deeper into myself and understand exactly what it is that I'm trying to bring into this world versus trying to bring what everybody tells me I need to bring, right? So this is where that surrender allowed me to get to my message. It's the core of who you are, the heartbeat of your business. It has to be real. It has to come from that deep soul level place where only you can speak from. But so often we're so afraid to speak our truth. And that's why it's so interesting, because it's like, yeah, you know you need to surrender. You know you need to find your message. And hey, maybe perhaps you've done it. But knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential. Implementation is power. Action is power. So yeah, now you have all the tools and you understand them. Sure, you have to surrender. Now you get to deepen in your message, but are you actually willing to speak it out loud? We try to say what we think people want to hear instead of what we were meant to say. We try to fit in, and in doing so, we lose the very thing that makes us very fucking magnetic. And I have been in business for 13 years, and I swear I have been in need of validation from other people for longer. I remember when I created my first program, and this was back in like 2020, and all I wanted to do was sound super profesh. I was like, I'm going to be profesh about this. Like, I want people to know that I know what I'm talking about. So I would utilize this business jargon and all this nonsense, and it fucking flopped. It was just like, cool, thanks for nothing. It was like I was trying to shift my voice even when I was starting to step into this new iteration who I desired to be so badly. And I was just like, but I was like, holy fuck, but like, how do I share this in a way that sounds more like me, right? Because it wasn't me. And the clients I wanted couldn't feel the energy. And when I showed up raw and spoke my truth, no filter, no fluff, that's when people found me. So using your voice with the audacity is about trusting that your message matters. And not just in a vague motivational way, but in a deep transformative way. The right clients will feel it. They'll resonate with your energy and be drawn to your leadership. And your voice is your greatest fucking asset. It's what sets you apart. It's what sets you apart. It makes you stand out in a sea of other artists in a crowded space. That's why it's just like, you have to understand that there are like these levels that we go through, this surrender, this act of pure surrender and guidance in leaning into what the universe has to offer us and really stepping into understanding who the fuck we are. Because we get that, then all of a sudden we understand what our purpose is. And when I understand my purpose and I have that level of conviction to build a freedom-based business by using my throat, by using my voice. And this is where we start, creating mass movements that amplify your influence and clarify your vision and unlock more of your voice. As I sit here in the middle of my own spiritual awakening of leaning back and listening to the universe, one thing that I do know is that the universe is really, really asking me to go next level. And actually, it by doing this surrender experiment of myself, which is something that I've been reading a lot of. I've been talking about this a lot within my spaces in BTS and Scale and in the ARC. I'm so inspired by the surrender experiment. If you haven't, by Michael, oh my gosh, he wrote the Untethered Soul. It's not Dooley, because that's a guy that wrote the Leveraging the Universe. I'm getting my Michael A. Singer, because there's a Michael A. Dooley who wrote the universe, To Leverage the Universe, and Michael A. Singer who wrote The Surrender Experiment and Untethered Soul. And actually, while I was in Montreal, I devoured this book, and it made me realize that this book was put into my path for a reason. And so it called me to leave social media, leave the noise outside of me, so I can dive deeper. And it's actually what's helped me build this new program that I'm calling Audacity, which is going to be coming out really, really soon here. And it's all about how we open up our throat chakra and to heal this part of ourselves so that we can really step into something bigger, leading from a place of conviction and confidence and personal power. It's like growing your audience, sold out socials, and team leadership, and standout branding mindset, embodying your 7-figure voice. Because clarity, conviction, and confidence, this is where we really are understanding what it is that we're trying to say and express it versus explaining it. And so I'm excited to inviting you guys into this new program of mine. It's going to be a 5-day immersion of awesomeness. And you guys are the first to hear about it because I don't know, I just felt like I felt called to share. So we shall see if I will see you in there. I'm so excited if I do. I know in the show notes that we will have all of the things if you'd like to join us in the ARC. Joining us in the ARC gets you some percentage off just because you're a part of my community already. But joining the ARC, will also be doing our own surrender experiment, 30 days of surrendering in our own way. And I cannot wait to see you all there. So check the show notes. You want to join us in the ARC, come do that. If you want to join us in Audacity, you are more than welcome. And I will see you guys in the next fucking episode. Bye for now.